Welcome to this nightmare fuel of a video. These posts have been collected from Reddit and other websites. Please enjoy.
Number 1. My now ex-wife and I had gotten married and moved into a neighborhood. We moved in the winter. As spring came, we noticed there were multiple dead animals, birds, squirrels, raccoons, etc. in the yard. We cleaned them all up and started to do improvements to the outside of the house, painting on the inside of the house. I started to notice strange things going on. Keys not where I left them, stuff like that. I thought I was just being forgetful. Then things slowly started to escalate. While in bed, I could swear I could hear a barely audible conversation, like a radio in a far room. As soon as I would try to focus on it, it would go away. I started to hear footsteps at the other end of the house. One night, while laying in bed, I heard a huge crash. I woke up out of dead of sleep. I went into the kitchen and saw my kid's hamster cage on the floor about 15 feet from where it was. We would put it on the fridge at night because we had a cat and didn't want it getting to it. Now I know what you are thinking. Cat knocked it off, but this cage had to fly over a breakfast bar and a kitchen table to get into its resting place. Then things got ugly. I would be sitting at home watching TV. I would have this uncontrollable thought: what would it be like to be possessed? Or I want to be possessed. I couldn't get this thought out of my head. I couldn't concentrate on anything but that. I would literally have to say it in my head: I love God, I love Jesus, over and over again just to get off the original thought. I need to add that I am not a religious person. As soon as I would leave the house, it would be fine. Not one thought. But as soon as I pulled in the driveway, it would start up again, uncontrollably. I thought I was going crazy. I sat down with my wife and looked her dead in the eyes, and I said, I think I am going crazy. I have been having weird thoughts. She turned white, and before I could say any more, she said, that you want to be possessed. Come to find out, for the past month, she had been having the exact same thoughts. Then we started to compare stories. She told me that she was laying in bed without me. I worked seconds at the time, and she could hear a man whispering through the baby monitor while our child was fussing. Needless to say, we moved out within the month, ate the deposit. Her oldest daughter was still in school, and we had moved across town. I had to pick her up at that house on my days off when she got dropped off by the bus. As soon as I turned the corner, I would get those thoughts. I would sit in my car in the driveway and not even go inside and wait. Number 2. It started when I got my own Ouija board, and I never read the rules. My friends were too chicken shit, so I did it alone. I talked to 2 people that day by myself. One was a little boy named Tim, who was disowned by his parents and died in the forest. The other presence was much darker, and for 2 questions I asked it, would reply, death, which was not a valid answer. I got angry with the second one and yelled at it to prove its malicious nature to me. Nothing happened. I packed the board away, feeling as if maybe it was me the whole time, which is the common nature for disbelievers. But then, the next 2 months happened. Between 3 to 4 a.m., I constantly woke up with terror sweats and felt as if I was being watched. About 50 days in, I awoke to the most horrid screaming and a thud so loud I thought someone was breaking in. I jumped up and felt again like someone was in front of me wanting me to die, and yet no sounds from my upstairs housemates. I got so scared that I quit sleeping at night. I would stay up until 6 a.m. at least to make sure that ghost hours wouldn't affect me, but it came anyways. I always remember what happened at 2 months. I was playing COD as typical for the past 2 weeks, and all of a sudden I got this cold chill on my back, and it went to my left shoulder and then also onto the left side of my head. And I shit you not, I heard breathing in my ear. The pressure on my upper left side was if someone or something was leaning its head on my shoulder. I was frightened to death, and I decided, fuck this. I got up, swung my fist, and screamed, fuck off and go away. And after that night, it seemed to stay away. I don't know how all this happened, especially when I was such a non-believer. Those months feel like a dream, but I do believe now that certain energies do manifest around us, and it's best to stay away from the evil, hurtful ones. Number 3. My brother was getting to sleep one night when he was around 13 or 14. The lights were off, doors closed. He settled with his eyes closed. All of a sudden, he gets that feeling that he's being watched by someone. The feeling becomes stronger and stronger, so he pulls the covers over his head, curls into a ball, trying not to freak out. He even starts saying the Our Father prayer. When a few lines in, he hears a voice right next to his ear say, "That's not going to help you." Number 4. Getting a threatening phone call from a stranger is terrifying, but for 3 Washington state families in 2007, the calls became an unnervingly personal attempt. The families received calls at all hours of the night with threats made against their families and pets. It seems as if the anonymous tormentors were watching quite closely and listening in as well. Voicemails arrived, playing recordings of the family's private conversation, including one with the police detective. One family member's cell phone would send text messages to friends by itself. The callers knew where the families were, what they were doing, and what they were wearing. Once, when one of the victims was at home slicing limes, a call came in from a restricted number, and the voice on the other end said it preferred lemons. When the calls were traced, they led back to the family's own phones. Authorities and cell phone providers were flummoxed by the reports. "We're not exactly sure what is being done to these phones," says Sprint spokesman Matt Sullivan. Electronic surveillance experts noted the ease with which our cell phones can be hijacked, while others suggest the calls might be coming from inside the house, i.e., a disgruntled family member. Number 5. We rented a house that never felt like home. You always felt creeped out walking in there like you were being watched. My boyfriend and our roommate both worked nights, so I would be there by myself a lot. One night, I was doing my usual stuff and watching some TV before bed. I had this overwhelming feeling all night that I should avoid the hallway and not look directly down it. It was creepy. The feeling of being watched and terrified lasted about 2 hours before I decided to suck it up and make my way to my room. I left the hallway lights on and went to bed. Just as I turned off the side table light, I heard a drawer being pulled out and hitting the stopper. I turned on the light and nothing was out of place. This went on about 6 times before I decided I was sleeping with the lights on. I curled up under the covers and waited for my boyfriend to get home. He comes rolling in about 3 a.m. He's laughing at me for being such a fucking pussy, gets into bed and turns the light off, and that's when all hell broke loose. All the doors down the hallway slammed shut one by one. Then our closet door started rattling. The sound coming from inside could only be described as total destruction. It sounded like the shelves, the pole, and everything in there were being tossed around. My boyfriend joined me under the covers and we were both terrified. After it stopped, it took 5 to 10 minutes to convince him to go check around the house. Nothing was out of place, and our roommate had drove 3 hours back home that night to be with his family, so we knew it wasn't him. We slept with the lights on for the rest of the night and moved out soon after. I still can't drive by that house without being creeped out. Thank you for listening to this video. Be sure to subscribe to channel Rodan for more scary stories, and comment below, and just be generous to leave a like. Thank you for watching. See ya.